How's it going, guys? My name's OhDough. Hope you're doing well. In this video, I want to discuss how you interrupt using a certain new weapon called the Aether Strikers. Aether Strikers are the new hotness in the shower dials, and these weapons are really freaking hard to boop with. Like they're rough to interrupt with, especially when you don't know the fancy tricks to use. It's rough. It can be really difficult. Better options if you want an easier time to boop are going to be chain blades, the sword, the hammer. Those weapons, when you learn their fancy ways of interrupting, are a bit easier to use, you know, in certain situations. But with the strikers, the cool part is that every single heavy attack can interrupt, among other things. But let's focus on the heavy attacks right now. So what I mean by heavy attack is any attack on the strikers that has a heavy variant. So you can look at that in the combo section. You have Spirit Barrage. This is going to be a light, it's going to be a rapid strike followed by heavy strikes. Heavy strikes are your heavy attacks. Those can boop. So on the Spirit Barrage combo, the second two attacks in that combo can both boop. And the cool part is that the second attack in that combo, so the first heavy strike, that hits very rapidly. That's a very fast attack. It's a flurry of hits, pretty much. Like, that's the flurry of hits part of this combo. That is probably one of the safest ways to interrupt using the strikers consistently. You don't need a mantra, none of that stuff. You just have to do the combo, and if you do it correctly, you'll get a pretty consistently safe boop for the most part. And like, this boop is my go-to. Because the cool part is when you interrupt a behemoth, you have a chance to get a mantra if you do it correctly. So let's say you boop with the second part of this combo, you can then land the third part of this combo, the third hit, and get a mantra. And that can help, that can change the game right there, because it speeds up the process of getting your mantras. You can use that mantra to surge and then pop it for your technique to surge again. There's a lot of different things you can do to make it really quick and really, pizzazzy. It's a really nice thing to do. It's some really good tech. And if you're really feeling it, you can do the Mighty Squall combo. I wouldn't suggest it, but that's an option. And then aside from doing the Spirit Barrage combo, a pretty consistent way to boop that's a bit harder to do is going to be a rolling heavy strike. So you roll and then you use your heavy strike. This can interrupt, but it's kind of rough in most cases. There are some behemoths you can do this in a way where you can like cheese it per se. Like if you're fighting Shrike, you can roll to the right of Shrike and hit the wing. And if you clip the wing with your heavy attack, you'll boop it and you won't trade. It's pretty consistent, it's pretty safe. It's just about timing. It's timing it so you connect with the wing. So that's a good way you can do it. You can also abuse the hitbox on Emmermain, which is, it's a bit harder to do, and I would kind of encourage doing the Spirit Barrage boop instead of the rolling heavy strike, but up to you. Now, moving past that, you have your techniques you can use to interrupt. So for your techniques, your Karma Breaker, which is like your freaking, I don't even know what you call that. Like, I'm not sure how to describe it, but it's the second technique, and this is where you pretty much shoot forward, and if you hit a behemoth, you'll apply a dot. This can boop behemoths, and it is somewhat safe, but it is a lot harder to time than the other boops I mentioned so far. So this is going to be a good gap closer and a good boop at the same time. So if you want to use that for it, it's a good idea. And for this, all you need is two mantras, and you use your technique called Karma Breaker, and that's pretty much all you gotta do. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But the problem is you have to have your technique, or you have to have your mantras to use this ability to boop with. So it's not consistent in the sense that it's not always up, right? Like, it's somewhat consistent to boop with. It's just it requires some pretty accurate distance from a behemoth and some timing, but that's pretty much everything. And then like the last ways to interrupt are going to be using your specials. So you can use the Titan's Crash special, which is the clap. This is what you get at level 16 in your mastery for strikers. This will boop. It's a lot harder to use. This is probably the hardest way to interrupt using strikers, because the boop range or the clap range is actually not that big, if I'm being completely honest. If I'm being honest and giving my opinion if you will, I feel like the clap range is not that big, so using it to boop with is pretty stylish, but also very high risk. It's a very high risk boop if you're being honest with yourselves. So I would instead use the Adamant Bolt if my goal is to interrupt and be flashy and whatnot for fun. That is a really good option, and it looks really cool. It's really fancy. It's got a pretty big wind up though too. So the differences between the clap and the Adamant Bolt is the clap is much faster to use, but also harder to land, whereas the Adamant Bolt is much slower to cast, but a lot easier to land because you can aim it, it's got range, it's pretty cool, pretty nifty. But those are the ways you interrupt with the strikers, and that is the end of this video, guys. Hopefully you liked it, hopefully you learned something, hopefully I'm a pretty good teacher. And if you guys liked the video, be sure to leave a like on the video, comment, share it. All those things help me out a ton. If you want to, you can subscribe to this channel for more Dauntless content. That's what I do here. And if you want to support this kind of content, using my Epic Games per card code in the Epic Games Store or the in-game Dauntless Store helps me out a ton. And if you want my in-game flair, if you are a Twitch subscriber with Tier 1 Prime, any of that stuff gifted, use the command !flare in the chat, and then join the Discord, link your accounts, easy clap, get a flare. So hopefully this video helped you guys, like I said, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.